I'll get it.
Elizabeth, just to remind you that we are live streaming.
Oh, great. Hello, everyone.
It's about to launch right now.
Oh.
Sorry? Oh, yeah, I was just looking at it right now, yeah.
Do we have anybody online? Barely.
No.
Okay.
Thanks, Steve.
No, I know.
On the delay.
Oh, yeah. One more minute. I can more. Get started. Let's start with the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Put the flashlights on your phone there, maybe. Oh, I hope not. Oh. Thank you. Yeah.
Do we have a motion to approve the agenda? Does anyone want to add anything?
Just, we should table this, the expenditures for 24 up to this point. I'll have those for the next meeting.
Okay. Did everyone hear her? We're tabling the budget for,
FY 24.
yes, till next meeting.
Make a motion to approve the agenda for August 8th.
Second.
Do I have a motion for minutes from our last meeting, July 11th?
Before we get going, Nancy gave a suggestion for an edit, and I took her up on it about the handbook. It was worked on last year. It needs to be reviewed, the formatting aligned, and the links to the policies to the documents. We have a goal of getting this to the before the start of the school year.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I just didn't feel we were
Yeah.
aware of that. Indicated. Thank you.
Oh.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Is that the only edit?
Yes.
Okay, yes, I move to approve the minutes as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, we'll move on to public comment. Does anyone in the audience have anything they want to say, or you just here listening? Don't get wild.
Just the introduction, we do have in our audience tonight, Mary Train and Heidi Donnelly. Our teachers, two of our teachers. Mary Train,
Gave the title for the,
Teachers.
oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I gave the name and then mumbled. I apologize.
I'm old. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to correspondences.
I received on August 1st, correspondence. The principal from the Fiddlehead School in Freeport gave me a call, and was looking for a reference for Mandy, and I gave him one. And then I got a letter from Mandy that said, "Hi, Ann, thank you for the reference for Fiddlehead School. I got the job. I'll be teaching English language arts and social studies to 7th and 8th graders. I think it'll be a really great fit for me. I get to have deep conversations about literacy and social movements and work on helping these kids express themselves through writing and art. I'm excited. This does mean, of course, that I have to let go of my art teaching jobs. Thank you for giving me my first art teaching position. It was a pleasure to get to know you, the staff, and of course the kids. I will miss you all. I'll send an email out to the whole staff in a bit, but I wanted to let you know first." I sent her back an email on behalf of the board, accepting her letter of resignation with regrets. And then on Friday, I received another letter of resignation, which came as kind of a surprise. I did get a phone call Wednesday from Justina, and I think her letter of resignation kind of explains it. Explains our conversation and everything. It says, "Dear school committee, I'm writing this letter for the purpose of informing you of my resignation at the Chebeague Island School. Please use this letter as notice of my resignation. My time on the island has been a wonderful learning experience, foundational to my career. I have received great support from different coworkers within the time that I have been here. Sarah Klein and Nancy Ernst were foundational to my time on the island. Ann Kirkpatrick has provided great support in different areas and provided me with different learning experiences along the way, with good advice that I will take with me. I was believed in and hired to do the position, and I am forever grateful for that. I've had parents support me greatly through encouraging words and creating close relationships. The students in my classroom made the decision the hardest. They are a unique group of students that I truly adore, and I've been so lucky to teach them and learn from them. My goal was to see the 3 first graders out of 2nd grade when I took the job last winter, then evaluate my future. My whole class has been so special to me. I could say so much about them. I've seen the whole group grow so much. I couldn't have asked for a better first class. I'll miss the walks through the island with them, fun Fridays, and just learning alongside them. This decision was hard, but I find it to be what's best for myself in all areas of my life, personally, professionally, and just long term. Middle of July, she had not signed her contract, along with big feelings following Sarah's departure. I found myself wanting to apply for other jobs, and I did that. I've been supported as a young and new teacher by Sarah in such a way that I can't put into words, made especially acute in a small school setting. I've been trying to make sense of my place in the school after knowing she was leaving. I didn't see a place for myself, but I do see how the school is going to grow in a beautiful way with a new strong team of educators, but I don't see myself going long-term in the school for my own personal values and reasons. The new hires provided me with comfort while making this decision because they are well-educated, fun, and they will provide the students of Chebeague Island School with the best education that they deserve. I've been weighing the decision heavily because I am giving up a school and learning environment that I admire deeply. It took me working in Portland for a 2nd summer to realize that I needed to be in a bigger system and on a bigger team with a group of diverse educators, along with going back to my roots. I grew up in a large community setting, and that's what I would like to get back to. I love the island, especially Chebeague Island School, but my home is in Portland along with my roots. I will happily support the process of finding replacements or adjustments to the classrooms. I have student files neatly organized that will be easily accessible for any new teacher along with the materials neatly in boxes in the classroom. I am happy to share any of the materials that are saved on my Google Drive and provide answers to any questions regarding students, curriculum, and materials. I am beyond thankful for the opportunity to teach on the island and experience an island school. I am excited for the future of Chebeague Island School. I'll miss those students so much, but I have so many wonderful memories to take with me. Sincerely, Justina Warren. And she and I, like I said, we had a conversation Wednesday. She let me know that this was in the works, and she was sent the email on Friday. And we've been working to make the transition as easy as possible. I think we have. And down further, we'll talk about staff and employees. And I did send her an email back that I did accept the letter on behalf of the school committee with regrets and wish her the best of luck. She's a little spark plug.
I wish we could have had time during the school season to say a proper goodbye, I guess, like we were able to with Sarah.
Yeah.
Certainly we'll miss Justine. I did actually happen to see her at the boat, yesterday at Cousins, so was able to talk to her for a second, but she will certainly be missed. I was so glad to see her, come up through the ranks here.
Yeah.
Just a really great person to be in the school for so many years.
It was, yeah, she was here for 4 years, and the growth was just tremendous. Under both Nancy's tutelage and Sarah's, working with her. It was great to see. All right. And that's all I have in correspondence.
I have one thing to add with correspondence that we talked about last time with the lawn.
Oh, yeah.
I did talk to Ace Hardware, as they are listed as a dealer for the robotic lawnmowers. They had one in stock that they were offering to give us a slight discount to the 430XH Husqvarna. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that, but I wasn't totally sold on this process. There are a couple of, the one that they have that they've had for a while that they were willing to discount, the maximum height was like 2.6 inches, whereas they have another one that will go up to 4 inches. And I don't think we always want a shortcut. We would have to install electricity to a corner of the ball field where it would nest. He said, even though they say they're for up to 0.8 acres, that it's not a big deal because it would do what it would do and come back and then do the next, and they work in the rain. And so this is not a GPS one, it's a wire that we would install around the edge of the ball field. So that's information, so we're basically, it's close to $3,000, which is not a one summer's worth of mowing. Some people say, oh, it's so obvious. That's what, the ball field is a perfect example for it. But I don't have any experience to know that that's, that it's worth it, or that we won't come up with an alternative to have somebody to mow otherwise. But that's what I have. Eastwood does not service them. They weren't sure whether up in Warren, which is more of the headquarters, would, and that was kind of like here on Chebeague, if something goes awry, I really don't want somebody having to go all the way up to Warren or just have to do a whole replacement because it's a computerized system.
Well, thank you for doing that research. I guess that kind of segues into my report. I just have two things. First thing was we kind of had a little back and forth with the town in regards to the mowing. They have agreed to mow 2 more times this year, which Ann and I talked would be sufficient enough until the fall time. They're gonna mow right before school and 1 time in September. So this year, the mowing of the ball field, I'm talking just about the ball field. So this year's mowing seems to be under, taken care of. In regards next year, you know, I asked the town what their thoughts would be on purchasing a 360, the ride around mower. Vika seemed to think that there would be some convincing needed on their part for the town to purchase it, so they would like it, they think it should be housed here, and that's something that should come out of our budget, so. Again, it's early talks, we've gotten through this season with the mowing, but I think that's something that we're gonna need to talk about as we enter our budget season. Next January. So, we can also.
I'll share this document. of
Okay.
The information I had.
Yeah.
And Anne rightfully suggested that I share this information with Vika, or the town. I didn't feel like it was something that was just so obvious that we would want to move forward with
Yeah.
it, so I was like, why take time to try to sell them on something that I wasn't sure I believed in, or for right now. I
Right.
think it's a great option, maybe in the future, but I'm not sure that it has met its testing.
Yeah.
Trial period, these robotic lawnmowers.
Is there any, public places that the town has to mow during the summer? Besides cemetery?
It's the cemetery.
Chandler's, a little grassy area by the monument stone. I don't know if there's any others.
I think that's.
So,
So that's why she said, you know, I think the board of selectmen would have a hard time seeing the reason for the town for paying for one of those large ride around mowers, because they have so little mowing against themselves.
so that's nice, I guess, of them to offer to mow 2 more times, but I would assume that we would need a mow between now and when school starts. You know, there's 4 weeks or something till school starts. I don't think it will go that long, if, you know, the way my lawn is, whenever the sun pokes through.
Yeah, with all this
So
rain.
do we have another plan for the next few weeks? Is the rec?
I know.
The rec's done.
They're done, yeah.
They're done. So there's no camps or anything in the next.
So we'll have it done right before, hopefully right before school starts, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll hold off as long as we can.
Yeah, I guess, all right. I still think it probably is gonna need it again, and I mean, I don't know how it is right at this particular moment, but I would think in a week
Well, they
or
just
so.
mowed it for whatever that event was on.
Oh,
event
okay.
on
Yeah.
Saturday. They just did that last week, so, you know, we can get 2 weeks and then mow it again.
Okay.
Type of thing.
When you say 2 weeks, you mean, is it 2 more cuttings or 2?
Two more cuttings.
Well, I can stretch that out pretty easily.
Yeah,
When
2 more
school starts and then see what it's like after that. If there'll be phys ed, it'll take place out on the.
Correct,
field, right?
yeah, I would assume so.
And then they
Anyways,
gather
be
gold
outside.
again At some point
So-
after school starts.
And they'll do it after school starts. So I've had that back and forth. I was planning on attending their meeting next week to talk about that, and then I also sent an email to Vika as well as all the selectmen in regard, on behalf of all of us, in regards to the concerns, the financial concerns. You know, there's been some bookkeeping stuff that has come apparent that bills have not been paid on time. You know, I think Ann kind of explained that last time. There was a student that almost didn't receive services this summer because they hadn't been paid. We've had other contractors that haven't been paid in a timely manner, credit card bills. So I just expressed our concerns, and then in regards to the audit, I wanted to follow up in regards to the audit because we have lost some money. And until the audit is complete, you know, we will not receive any of that money. So they've heard that, and, you know, I'm just gonna attend the meeting and see if we can come to some understanding. Right before school starts, Ann and myself and the bookkeeper and maybe a selectman are gonna get together and kind of make sure we're all on the same page before school starts so that, we can start the school year, strong and making sure we're all on the same page, that everything be paid in a timely manner. And we don't want contractors not to want to work with us because, they're not getting paid on time.
And I think there are two issues. The audit was partially, am I correct, because there was a lack of auditors,
Correct.
but some of the interest on a credit card is just. So that's the hiccup that I believe is something that sitting down with a small group, we can address. I don't want to throw our town administrators under the bus with the audit because there were no auditors
For a long time.
for a long time. So I don't think it's sad that that happened and it's unfortunate, but I don't believe that was lack of attention on the part of the town, but the late warrants or things, I think we can do better on.
Since that email thread, has there been any more updates on when the audit will be done? I think at the end of that thread, it was kind of, we're hoping that it'll be within a week, but now it's. been a
Yeah,
couple weeks.
I plan to follow up this week at some point. I don't have a follow-up in terms of where they exactly are, but yes.
I just spoke with Vika today and when I was talking about getting the streaming going, and she did inform me and will be informing the school that the auditor is going to be doing expedited audit for us. Not giving a time frame,
Yeah.
but that it would be given some priority, more priority than it had been.
Okay, great.
I think, I spoke with Carol today, and she said that she was going to bring that at their next.
Yeah.
Board meeting as well.
So that's all I have.
Well, speaking of Carol, she did write a grant for us for water testing, and we received it. And I wrote back to the company that gave it to us, thanking them. And so it's all in Carol's hands because it's all about the water. And so she's great about keeping us in the loop, and when she keeps me in the loop, I'll keep you folks in the loop.
So is that to offset what we anticipate for expenses related to water testing, or is it to offset costs that we've already put into the water equipment?
Going forward,
Okay.
because she's going to be needing to do more testing. Then at the same time, I received this other quote from the water people in Yarmouth that said that they wanted to put some ultra lighting or something to kill bacteria in there. And I called Carol and I said, what is this? They want to come out and do it. And she said, no, we're not doing it. So she is very easy to work with and very responsive. And so I'll keep everybody in the loop.
Do we have a dollar amount on that grant, or is it rough idea, or is it, I'm not looking at the line item.
I don't know the exact water stuff. I don't want to say,
I want to say 6.
yeah, $5,000 or $6,000.
Okay.
It's for testing and, I think I talked about it last time. It's for testing and planning in terms of if we need to do anything. And then if we need to do something, there's another grant that we can apply for that will
Okay.
cover whatever the solution is and whatever we need to do.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Our bus is being serviced for the new year. Before they went over, I got a phone call from Vika. And they were mowing the lawn down at the town office, and a rock went through the lawnmower and broke a window in the bus. And so we got a quote on that to the tune of $777. And so that the bus window will be replaced. We did get the car serviced and back. It was a full team effort to get it over there and get back. It does have 4 new tires, alignment, and it did pass inspection again, so we're feeling pretty good about that. Elizabeth gave me a little nudge today, and I wrote to Andrew Dolph to ask about our October meeting, and, he is gonna speak to his group about, it's their turn to host, so we would go over there, to the 14th, Saturday, October 14th, if you wanted to pencil that in. And that's all I have.
Is that first like 8, go around 8? Yeah, okay.
Oh, 6:30.
That's all right, it's good to know.
Is the window repair on the bus more expensive than what our insurance deductible will be?
Yes, but the town's deductible.
Okay,
The town's taking care of it.
oh, the town, okay,
Yeah,
All right.
there was some mowing that was done, and while they were mowing
Yeah,
around it,
yeah.
the rock.
That's the,
Flipped up and like that.
I think our deductible is 500.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the town.
Okay.
I'll just give a little bit of a report from the lead teacher, although she's sitting here.
Do you want to get it?
Doesn't know what's up, she doesn't know what's on.
Oh, okay. All right then.
And she'll be talking a lot later in the program. So Mary and Heidi have been working, getting the classrooms ready. One of the things that came through was the TLC, and that's working with the Island Institute. And I believe they had a meeting with Yvonne and Ben and somebody else about, jumping in with 2 feet with the TLC this year, and they are. And they're going on a camping trip. They're going on a camping trip, August 21st and 22nd up to Bar Harbor, meeting with all the other TLC members and getting that up and going. But before that, next week, Mary is going to a workshop on 14th, 15th, and 16th to the Gulf of Maine research, so that up and ready. And I did hear hints of getting the tank up and going again. That's personally, I think it's fun, but that's for my own amusement. But we'll see.
Jeff, will you supply us with animals?
Sure.
I mean, they're
Yeah.
setting up the tank and
Yeah,
then
sure.
trying to get something other than
Bring something.
pipe pooling can generate. I'll look at the notebook and see if there's
It's very
any I saw it in there, whether there's any relicensing that has to be done to have certain animals in critters captivity, and the notes about the refrigeration part. It's been, I think last time it was due for a service from something with the refrigeration.
I think we stopped that, I'm going to guess, March of 2020.
We did, right, and then we didn't, it was sort of a hiccup in terms of getting it going again, but it's. I'm more than willing to help with that.
What's the GMRI meeting for? I know they do something for 6th graders. Usually our 6th grader goes with the ARMA, but are they doing something for elementary school?
So it's for grades 5, 6, and 5, not, they've agreed to include our graders as well. And so, I will go with a bunch of other educators for 3 days. I'm just gonna be out and around and learning a lot about the, and sustainability things and things we can work on for kids. And then our students, the 5th and 6th graders are signed up in January to go with our students over to the main research and do some work with them. For collaborative groups.
Yes.
Okay, so let's move on to some old business. First, the standing of the 23 budget.
I did send you the budget, but I also gave you a sheet like this to kind of just pull it all together for you. If you look at the regular ed, right now our balance And again, this is for 22-23, and this is what is gonna be, what they're gonna expedite the audit. We are not ready to be audited. For the regular ed, the remaining balance is $13,593. However, when Vika sent it to me, she also sent a note that said that she had not done a journal entry for the salaries for July and August. So I'm going to guess that that's gonna be in the negative. And the reason that that's gonna go into the negative is because of the middle school tuition. If you remember that. I don't remember what- But, so that's why I put off to the side. It may need a balance, and if it does, we'll, I don't know, we'll know when she does that. The special education, we have a balance in there of $72,388. Again, the salaries for July and August need to come out of there. The 5,300 off to the side is 3% of the total budget. So if we needed to move any money around, that would be the 3%. Under,
Do you mind if I interrupt you real quick? So I thought that the July and August salaries come out of the new budget.
because. So the teacher's salary, the teacher's contract goes from September 1st to August 31st. And so, in the past, what the town did was they paid them in 22 pays, which got you to the end of June.
We had a choice at one point, which we wanted to, which was.
Right, and so if you choose 26 pays, which everybody wanted because they wanted to get paid in July and August, that money is in the previous budget, and what they have to do is they have, because they were gonna expend all of it by the end, but they do the regular paychecks, and what, it's an accounting exercise. You have to just journal entry back to this one, and they haven't done it yet. So they haven't taken it out yet to do it.
I understand that, but is there a way to fix that so that when the fiscal year ends and we're not still cutting checks from?
No, you still have the contract. You
Well,
still have to cut the checks, but you can journal entry, but that's all at the accounting office and not the school office.
Yeah, no,
I think the only
understand
way
that.
is to say you have to take them in 22 pays, and
So every,
Yeah, all right, it's just the way, that's the discrepancy between the contract and the fiscal year.
right,
All right, I get it.
every school district in the state of Maine, when they go to 26 pays, and I would say the majority of the teachers want 26 pays, so they don't have to figure out what to do in July and August. And all the business offices for school districts journal entry it back.
So by September,
First,
end of month, it should reflect, and the 22-23 budget then should be closed and should reflect all of this.
yes, so, yes, the last pay would be, August 23rd. So as of August 24th, or even the 23rd, they should have it all journal entry back.
Okay.
And then we can then proceed, because we might have to do some transfers of funds. So student and staff support, we have a surplus of $8,206, and I just give you the 3% in case we need to move any money. Systems administration, that is the school committee and the superintendent's office. Surplus there of $23,910. School administration, that's just the principal's office. We have a surplus of $2,674. Transportation, I held my breath because of all the repairs that we needed to do, and we do have a surplus of $4,473. And the 3% is pretty close. Facilities and maintenance, we are in the hole there, $2,295. One of the reasons why that went into the hole is because we received the plumbing bill for $10,000, and it was my understanding that they were going to put 5,000 of it back on the 22 fiscal year. They said they were, but they didn't. They put it on this one, and so it overran us by this much. And so then we have the other $5,000 that we'll put on the 24 fiscal year 24. So you see a note out to the side of we do have 2,500 from systems administration that we could put in there to balance that out. And that you can, it'll take a motion from the board to do that. You can do it now, or you can wait until we see what all the monies that we need to move. The debt service, that is the bill for, that we paid for, paid to SAB 51. They gave us an estimate when we were doing our budget of 127,641. And when the bill came, it was 131,795, difference of the 4,157. We do have monies that we could move that from the special ed. The other is the kitchen and the contingency. And again, we have a surplus in there of $12,289, and the 3% there is the 3% there does not include the contingency money. So that's just out of the kitchen account. So when I was doing this, I was fearful that we would also have transportation and buses in the red as well. But we knew about all three of them because of the middle school tuition and the facilities and the debt service.
I'd like to see if we could take care of the facilities maintenance one. That's kind of sort of a no-brainer to get that leveled out. I made a motion to move 2,500 from system administrative into facilities maintenance.
You can make that motion, and we hope that somebody will second it.
So I thought I was, but I moved to move $2,500 from systems administration into facilities and maintenance to cover that deficit.
I'll second it. I do have something for discussion. So do you anticipate any other bills coming in from systems administration that you have to journal entry back that would drop this number down below, the 3% number down below 2,500?
No, I think we're well into the fiscal year 24 now. July and August, a lot in July, and then just a few trickles in August that we get the bills from the previous year.
All of the work that has been completed, such as the floors, that's all been paid already.
Yes, and those went on fiscal year 24.
All right. All in favor?
You can render the debt service one as well.
I personally want to see what we're left with after having the input of the July and August. Am I reading this correctly?
Yes. That right there, that number is going to be probably maybe $6,000 at the most for us.
Which number is this?
72.
The 72. Oh yeah, we will have sufficient in there.
Oh.
Yes.
Um,
I prefer to wait, I guess.
And the reason why we'll have it is we budgeted for the transportation, special ed transportation, 26,000. We anticipated and we didn't need it because the Army took it over for us. So that's why there's a chunk of it.
Yeah, I personally just want to see how, what the bottom number is before we start
I agree.
taking from.
Yeah, having just $1,000 available is speaking for special ed. Have all of the summers, any summer services are in 24, right? So this is just the residual of anything.
Yeah.
So correct me if I'm wrong. Back of the envelope, unaudited, rough number here, that puts us at right around $100,000 left over from the 22-23 budget.
I would be comfortable with that number,
Okay, and that's,
unaudited.
yeah, unaudited for sure, so that's like 8% roughly of our budget. So the actual for 22-23 is gonna be about 8% roughly less than what we budgeted.
More than what we.
No, less.
The actuals are gonna be less for 22-23, about $100,000 less.
You add up all the surplus, the same, is roughly 100,000.
Right.
So our budget is roughly 100,000 less, or what we're ending up with is roughly 100,000 less than what we budgeted.
Right, so this is what we budgeted, we'll end up with,
Yeah, 1.1.
Yeah,
yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
alright, good to know. We've
I'm
come in
gonna,
a lot tighter than that, I think, before, so that's good.
well, you know, with the exception of special ed, when I was working with these numbers, when you do a budget, I mean, a budget is not an exacting science. You're giving it your best educated guess with what happened in the past and what you foresee is gonna happen in the future. And to me, this is pretty tight. So without looking at special ed, the other numbers are pretty tight. The surplus in the systems administration was, a lot of it was from the bookkeeper.
Yeah,
They
sure.
did,
That's right, I forgot about that.
I think we budgeted 30 and they only charged us like $12,000.
So, yeah, so hopefully this will get audited at some point this winter.
Yeah, Vika said that she's trying to get them like, yeah, back to back, so
right.
that we don't have this issue again.
Great,
So I've got your projection right there, Jeff. The 8%.
yeah, wow. Rough figuring.
Okay. Let's move on to student count for next year.
That is good news. I don't have a sheet for you. But we had a new student register, a 3-year-old who, his family is moving here from, South Portland. He's been coming to his place all summer long. And they're living with Grammy and he spends his days at his place. And we send them, they asked for an enrollment packet and we sent them. There's another student coming here for kindergarten. A young lady, and I believe they moved here this summer and they plan to winter here. So we are up to 16 students for next year.
Is there an additional student in the upper grade?
That is correct as well, thank you. And we did have another student in 4th grade. Yep, a new student. And a student who was here before and they are coming back, moving back to the island full-time. And that student is in 4th grade. So we're quite pleased with the number and the spread across the grade level, you know, going all in 2nd grade.
Right?
So if we have 16 now, my understanding we had what, 10 before?
Last year we had 10.
So that's, there's still a fourth then somewhere, was there? You just named 3.
So we lost 1 student in 5th
Okay.
grade, and then we gained
Gotcha,
4 students in pre-K. Plus we have a 5th,
thank you.
And one in the 3-5.
correct?
And
And
so next year,
and
we're 3 fifth graders?
2,
2. I'm trying to.
Yep.
Place everyone, 2 4th graders.
yes, 0 3rd graders. 3 2nd graders, 3 1st graders, 1 kindergartner. And 5 pre-K. 2 4-year-olds, 2 4-year-olds and 3 3-year-olds.
Yes.
Okay, let's get an update on the handbook.
We are busting tail to get that done, for the opening of the school.
Are we also planning to send out a packet to, like a welcome packet to parents when is that? expected to be?
We're waiting for the end of this meeting before we get that started.
Awesome.
We have talked about it. The update on the policies and the posting to the website. I'm gonna segue into that by saying that's called the newsprint,
Oh, newsletter.
the newsletter, is, went to the printer. I'm not sure if it's back yet. Kristen had a little hiccup, last week. She went to print it and she hit the button and all the formatting zippied on her, and you were hearing that happen. She was not a happy camper, and it took her probably 3 days to get it back in line, which is just a nightmare, but she did. And she got it out there, and I think it should be coming back if it's not back already. And
It'll go out.
yes. And so after that, she can then jump back onto the policy, so. The internet
Oh,
upgrade.
sorry,
Yep.
on, it kind of ties into the posting to the website, I guess. The last meeting, in the minutes, we talked about having a area of the website devoted to budget information. Any update on that?
We talked, Kristen and I talked about that and how she envisions that happening, and she thinks that she can do, like a click on and a drop down to let that happen, but she's giving it some brainwaves.
Great.
Figuring how to do that. The internet upgrade, I cannot wait for it to happen. Working here in the office, I'm typing and then all of a sudden nothing's happening and it pops up on my screen and says, you are not connected to the internet. And I just have to stare and wait for it to come back on. Sarah is still working on that, and she, I don't know if you heard, she ran into her husband had a little health issue that it's taken up a good portion of her time. So she'll jump back on that. I think Mary's got a meeting with her tomorrow, but she's not feeling comfortable enough to come all the way up to the island.
She didn't come out last week. She was planning good now.
No,
Okay.
yeah, that's when.
Okay.
That's when.
Oh, okay.
Internet has been a source of frustration in every access point on the island in the summer. I believe other than here, other than Starlink. I mean, it's just been very.
Is she thinking this is gonna be resolved for the start of school? Is that like a goal?
Well, she's got the company that she's working with that we agreed to pay and she's gotta jump back on.
I mean, is it, are the teachers gonna be able to do school with the internet that we have here?
As much as they've always had, you know. It'll be touch and go until it gets,
What is the company? You know,
no, I don't, but
We,
she was working with with the Yarmouth, IT people and she and Bev had met with them and I think that at the end of the school year and everything just got dropped and.
she gave us a detailed estimate with the company name and then a while back this winter.
It was like $3,000, $2,000-3,000. And part of the issue here is the firewall, from what I understand. We're getting out of my knowledge area, but the way it's set up is schools have a firewall and the firewall that they put in here is like a double firewall that we don't need. And so it just slows everything right down. The explanation that I remember that they said was, it comes in like a fire hose, and then as soon as it hits our firewall, the ability to go goes into like a little baby hose. So that's what makes it so slow.
Hopefully we can get that squared away before school starts. Okay, so we're gonna table the fiscal year 24 budget until next meeting. So let's move on to a staffing update.
Yeah. So with the recent resignation of Justina, I met with Mary and Heidi, and we talked about how to yep,
Right, so,
Thanks for coming, Jim.
thank you, for seeing everyone.
how to move forward on this issue and this school committee asked when we were putting together the budget last year, if the staff here at the school could take care of the education of all the kids with just 2 people. And with the staff, I'm not throwing anybody under the bus because we had the best people here last year for what we needed. Sarah is a tremendous educator. She's very new into education, less than 7 years in education. We had Justina, who, like I said before, we got to watch her grow. What we were going to ask them to do was they didn't have the experience to do it, to bridge all the kids between pre-K and 5 with missing links, without a kindergarten student, without anybody in kindergarten, and without anybody in 3rd grade. When I met with Mary and Heidi, they're the ones that brought it up. It was basically everybody talking at once, and they said, this is what we've done. This is how we ran our school. We ran a school with about this many kids, and although we didn't have the grade span all the way up to 5th grade, we had it up to third grade. And they made it work, and they believe that they can make it work again. And in doing so, I gave you a slate of positions. It would move from a pre-K teacher part-time and a K2 teacher full-time and a 3-5 teacher full-time to a full-time pre-K1 teacher and a grades 2 through 5 teacher full-time.
You ready for questions, or you're gonna keep going?
Okay, I have spoken. We're gonna keep talking, so, you know. No, I have spoken to Kids Place and they do know the plan.
That's where I was going. That's Kids Place related, because it was different than what we had advertised.
Yeah, I when I sent that out to the parents about coming here tonight. I did include, I don't know if you noticed, I did include Eliza Jane on that, so that she would have a heads up. But I did have a chance to speak with Caitlin today and let her know. And her comment was, does Heidi know about this thing? I said, yes. Yeah. Any other questions?
Well, that's a great situation for us. I hope that it doesn't leave Kids Place really scrambling. I mean, you know,
My brief conversation with Caitlin was, they have another new person there, and there's one afternoon that they're concerned about, but they think that they have enough substitutes on their docket that they can fill that until they can advertise and get another person.
I just wanted to clarify, just looking at what Heidi would have for students, she'd have 7. But 5 of those would be happening, you'd have 8. 9, okay, where did I put, okay, right, you'd have 9 over here, Mary would have 7. But you'd have 4 of them all day. And the 5 of them would be half day. Okay, and are we doing that they leave before lunch? Is that still our plan, or maybe that's a detail? I was just trying to just think through that transition and Kids Place, and because we had talked about when we added the 5th day, that having them transition at lunchtime, they lose the recess part here, but that's part of their transition, but they're not coming in now as a group of 5 when they have infants or toddlers that they're trying to put to sleep. It would still enable them to eat lunch over there versus here. But
I know that Mary and Heidi have been working on the schedule, if you want to share. Did we get it to you yet, or did you have it?
Yeah, I am no educator by any means, but you're gonna have pre-K and 1 in the same classroom.
Yes,
So
with the assistance of an ed tech, so that during the parts of instructional time, that, there are certain things in the day, like morning meetings, and those things that work really well multi-age, and that works, but we would be, and Mary will explain more, but we would be utilizing ed tech support to support those preschool kids. Like when I was doing direct instruction in math with the first graders, the K1 who would be having support, doing more investigative type work. And the ed tech would be overseeing them while I'm doing the direct instruction, and then there would be a flip flop. So that parts of the day, the parts that are really lend themselves well to whole group, when we allow, like, opinion of awareness, oral kind of work, that's all whole group. And then when I'm doing that real specific direct instruction, it's not whole group. And then I'm leaving a chunk of that, direct instruction that I would typically be doing with the older children in that room in the afternoon after the pre-K children left.
And once we get to know the first and second graders, we have talked about, doing groupings with them if needed, like together.
I just know that I think some parents might have some concerns about that, just due to siblings being in that, and that their learning levels are obviously at different points. So I mean, I've had some parents that have approached me about, my pre-K kid and my first grade kid being in class together, and how, their learning, abilities, and how they feel that might interfere with their learning. So I guess that's just my concern is having that.
My experience in the past few years, I've had a lot of siblings. In my first year, I had 3 sets of siblings all in my classroom from pre-K to third. And it's a dynamic that, you know, when you have a small school like this, a micro school, you operate a lot more like a family. You just have to know how to balance that as an educational experience and a no experience, which is what they're used to. Like Heidi and I are very, very practiced in that in Windsor too, lots of siblings. I do think that the pre-Ks are gonna have chunks of time where they're away from those kids too, like, I don't know if you noticed there's a STEM lab column. So what we're choosing to do is take the pre-K rooms, if there's nobody in there, and turn it into a STEM lab, and a STEM lab for all ages. So it just really means a lot of hands-on things in there for them to build, to make, in the pre-K, we'll spend a chunk of time in there. And then the K1 will do it separately, actually. The K might, it depends on who the K is, she'll probably make it K, and then the first and second graders. So it's hard to describe. We'd love for you to come visit and see, but we hope that you'll trust us that we have done it. And I understand the parent concern. I do understand that, but we're also very proactive in our teaching. So if it's not working, we feel comfortable regrouping, and just kind of making sure that it's working for all the kids.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely on our mind, but we've had pre-Ks with older kids, and actually I think it brings, first graders still need to play with it. And so they're so little, they're so little.
Yeah.
So, we forget that, and I think that some of the bigger schools are really getting that, and I think that one thing that Heidi and I have learned over the past few years is that you can still keep that for children, you can still give them that time to be children, and they can still learn at a very young.
Okay. Yeah, I guess my only thing would be, I would just be ready for questions from parents, concerns from parents, because that's really where my head's at, making sure that they feel comfortable with that. And, exactly what you said.
And in the past, we've done it without even support. So we feel super fortunate that we actually have an additional person to put in the mix and say, here's what we for you, this is what we'd like you to do with that. And we still feel like it's incredible that these children get a group with a teacher that's like 2-to-1 or 1-to-1, depending on their level, 4-to-1. I mean, that's amazing. We're used to working with 20 students all at the same age. And the management of that is a lot trickier than what we're being asked to do in my.
On the phonemic awareness at 10:30, continues the ed tech. Are you planning on still continuing with Hegarty? Okay. And then-
Integrity, and then depending, like, if they're like some of the trees. I mean,
Often
obviously,
over and-
you're not going to be sitting through an entire Haggerty class.
Right,
But I do think that they can still function in the classroom with something appropriate for them and hear it.
right,
Well,
because it's so much
happening.
of it is the.
Yeah.
auditory part
We
of it.
haven't like exactly spelled out exactly what Penny's Day looks like. I think that's gonna be collaborative.
Yeah.
But yes.
And you thought then is to do the K. There's grade 1 and then K, and then there's.
Yeah, I've been in.
Whether you do it with pre-K or not.
I've done it with multiple groups, and what I've done in the past is kind of, once I've assessed where they're all
Right.
at, figured out
How much.
which pieces we can handle, and then if there were certain skills that were just way above, I did those 2 skills when we were in line for something, or
Right.
at a different time.
Or you do 3 of them instead of 6 of them or
Yeah,
something.
So
just
I'll
because
have
you-
access to the curriculum for all 3 levels,
Right,
and pick and choose what makes the most sense, for the kids who are not making it.
I think my big question was just again, the transition takes place today and how, because I mean, Jenny is only going a couple afternoons So like how lunch, packing, just trying to get the lay of the land. all that.
I feel flexible about that. We feel that whatever's gonna make sense for them and for the students, they could either transition before we eat or they could transition after we eat. So it just depends on their timing. We're letting.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is because, you know, my kid's only going a couple days, like, when's the bus going to be wrapping? Oh, Genevieve up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
if they eat here, that would make, you know, obviously it later.
Right.
But then she would be. You know, for me, like today when we were talking about it, I will get the education piece in, whether they have lunch here or not, because the teaching and learning piece of that chunk of time for them will already have happened. So I'm not super, tied to any answer on that. I just feel like it's amazing that we have the service that you have here to have a cook, you know, and to have it available, that I think it's great if the kids can take advantage of that. But I really want to know what the parents of those kids feel like, because I think that there's a lot of. And what you call it.
My favorite questions, what's going on there.
Yeah, when I had spoken to Caitlin, we prior to thinking that we were gonna be looking at this differently, she had felt that it was a good opportunity to have them here, and she had, I assume she had coordinated with Emma, and they had come up with a schedule that they were comfortable with the pre-K kids coming after lunch. But if that's different now, I'm certainly open to it.
Yeah, I guess I would just try to figure that out as soon as possible, so that when we send out those packets to parents, just giving them as much information, as soon as possible. Ideal.
I think that's information that we're gonna need, like, I have no idea how bus runs yet. I know, you know, those kinds of things, so, and.
Yeah, a little the details is that if you have a pre-K student that's half day and you need to do something in the afternoon, they need to leave on the new boat. So if the child is leaving at 11:45 to get the noon boat, they need to be ready to go out the door. Now, I don't know if any of these students are doing that, but invariably you will end up with students leaving at 11:45 because you can't go over on the 2 and collect the younger child. They're just, the day is way too long. So that's just a mindfulness thing.
The typical pre-K day would be 30. So I think when we were talking about them originally having lunch, it really was based on the fact that Katie was gonna be working in both locations.
Right.
So that was how it got from the beginning, but, you know, yeah. Doing it typical days.
And I don't know what again, it's like you could make an assumption that there is a parent that once a week is, you know, like always going to be going, and you don't want to set that child up for frustration because they're missing something. But again, without knowing what parents may be trying to do, it's just something to, again, that you can open up some communication with the parents and who's going to kids' place, and if they eat here, then we should lower a table and have shorter chairs. They're really big. Yeah, and
Helper
it's
even.
yeah, just managing their trays is a lot for a 3-year-old, and you have to have it.
I have to run pennies.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, we haven't had a full week to hammer this out, so it's just. The details about the bus and.
Yeah, but we should do every hole we can
Oh, gosh, yeah.
into it to then make sure like, oh, you know, like, of course, we need to ponder that.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say, it's a lot of change, obviously, just happened, and, you know, I think that both of you, the level of experience you bring and your reputations and all that certainly alleviates a lot of concern that I would have, and I think others would have under different circumstances, so thank you for being willing to work with us on this. I feel super confident with you two at the helm here, so that's great, thank you. Just curious, and I don't want to get, you don't need to get into too much detail, but so specials will be mixed in during the rotations here, or is this kind of?
We have a little,
Oh, okay, so that's specials,
little
okay.
thing about the word specials because we, I don't know, we just put in. We were like, wow. All learning is special.
Okay, all right.
Called it enrichment.
Okay,
It was
Yeah.
no real, I
All right.
change it bigger than that.
yeah,
So
that
we just
explains it, thanks.
And tentatively penciled it in that the younger group, would go a certain time and the older, I think when we find out really when the specialists are coming,
Right, okay,
we'll have to tweak that to make it work.
thanks.
So we also don't have a special ed teacher, so what, do we have a plan for that?
Yes, we do. We do have a plan.
And I guess as well as the art teacher.
Okay, let me do the art teacher because that's a little bit easier. I spoke to the art teacher over on Long Island. And she's interested in teaching here. I did receive another applicant today, and I am expecting another applicant soon. So I will. Yeah, I hopefully will have 3 applicants, and by our next meeting have an art person for us. We have not received any more applicants for special ed, but we do have somebody who is willing to come out of retirement for us to help out very well.
Oh, wow. Super nice.
Yeah.
She will do the 60%.
Until such time that we can fill that position.
Wow.
You'll still actively be posting and looking and.
Oh, yeah. And Mary
doing
will,
your thing.
yes,
Okay.
yes. So one of the things that I did want to just show you folks. If you look at. Look at this little piece of paper. One of my highlights was hiring these 2 women, and one of my stresses was how to pay for them, as you recall. So, so the pre-K teacher, I just put the trio line, that it gets paid in. And, the first line is, we budgeted $35,600. Justina's pay for next year was 48,300. Theirs was 57. We had a lead teacher. We budgeted for health insurance, and then we have an ed tech. And if we move and we go with the salaries that they have, and so the total that we budgeted for those positions was coming up $219,948. This new slate of positions that we have is pre-K 1, grades 2 to 5. We want health insurance that we need, the ed tech, and so for the new slate of positions, we would need $219,780, which puts us to the good $161.
Wow,
It's not for them.
So,
thanks for putting that together.
Yeah, thank you.
so I just wanted you to see, and I gotta say, one of the statements that Jeff Suma made at one of the meetings was, what a bargain we got Sarah applying for, and we did. And, I consider her a good friend of mine, and we did get her for a bargain. And she did what we needed her to do for the 5 years that she was here, and she did a bang up job. And now we have a new set of needs, and I think that we have a great set of professionals to lead us through the next few years. 1 year.
Oh, we
garnered
a lot there. And by year.
A lot more too.
But without looking at the total years of experience that we had budgeted for and the total years of experience that we now have, I mean, that's where the difference is. That's
So
the
we,
system, you get credit for every year that you bend over backwards for kids.
so we had in our budget, we had budgeted for less than 10 years of experience combined. And what we have now is, we figured it out, close to 50 years experience. Isn't that what we said?
Really old, right, yes.
Then you add Mary into the mix, where we're going on.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of experience under the roof here, so it's, you know, like you said, Jeff, I'm feeling very comfortable about it. Yeah. One more thing, and I will throw these two ladies underneath the bus. They came to me and they said, what time does the school end? School day end? And I said, 3. Do you think the parents should let us continue to complete?
So that was my other question. That because Justina and Anna are no longer here, they were performing our after-school portion. We need to let parents know that they need to.
We got that covered.
They're gonna do something.
We got Penny doing it one day,
Okay,
and these two ladies with the next day.
awesome.
And what the talk is, and you can stop me at any time, but just giving the kids more time to spend on.
Just please let us know if there's a level of burnout that
Yeah.
you start to feel, so we can plan ahead, you know, just.
We're just readjusting because we ran our program from 8 to 5. So we just felt like that's what our.
But you also weren't using commuting on the boat, which
I know you haven't been.
You can't. I know you haven't been talking about, but
Let go, we're not cleaning toilets, we're not emptying the trash, we're not cleaning the building. Like, there's a lot that we were doing.
I know,
in
but
addition- I-
that ferry can, even though it's short,
Yes.
it can add on to your day,
Yeah.
and
And
so.
for me, it's a new grade level, and I know that I'm gonna need that time to really just dive in and with the older kids, and I'm super excited about that. I've been waiting for years to that.
So the
One of the surprises that we kind of came on, we started going for a later day because we felt like families needed it. But what we also realized is if we do a later day like that, we have a little more time to give kids time to be kids during the day. And we just saw a huge difference in regulation. For kids, when you give them a little more room, at different times in the day. Now, we're not gonna automatically do that now, we're just gonna start our regular schedule the way it is, but it was something that was just a huge benefit. Because which makes us.
Because we know what's expected now. It's very different than it was 20 years ago, 25 years ago. So, you know, it feels like it's just a lot, nothing to it. So you're just really trying to, that's why the longer pay.
I think if, as you all do this, if you see slots where it would be like, oh, that would be really nice if someone came in and did one-to-one reading, or if there was somebody that wanted to make a commitment for, you know, once a week or twice a week, helping with Haggerty or helping with, you know, like something that's not necessarily RTI or something, voice it, because the parents are already run nuts, and that's why they need the coverage that they do. But this community is very old, and there are a lot of people that love Kids Place and love the school. and still have reasonable wits about them to work well with children, if asked.
Most of them.
Yeah. You know, we may be the youngest town, but we're the oldest demographically in the state of Maine.
Just kind of in closing, if you agree with the new slate of position, we should probably vote on it so that it becomes kind of official.
I move to approve the slate of positions dated August 8th, 2023.
Second,
Any discussion? All in favor?
Thank you.
While we're still on this item, I do have a question. So in the teacher's contract, there's a section that talks about coursework that may apply for Justina having just resigned. Has she done spring or summer coursework that we pay for?
Yes.
Okay, is that being discussed between you and her? Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
And I have one question, still on the slate, do we have a technology, I didn't see that as a posted thing on serving schools or Spanish, are we still actively, are we good with Muzzy and Penny doing that? And I know live is always better.
Yeah.
I was just trying to figure out where we are on
Yeah.
posting or recruiting for those two.
Yeah, we have not, I think I would have to update the Spanish. I think can we do that? Yep, I think that would be great.
And I think Muzzy's a great fallback, but it's,
Yeah, no, I agree. We can try to find
right,
in person, that would be. And then do we need to go for a technology teacher?
We haven't had one since in the last 4 years. The
Okay.
kids use the computers and they're very efficient. Mary was trying to figure out the board and I went, where do the kids get their little?
how do you two feel about that? About having a technology teacher?
I think the,
Or not.
the technology, but one thing I know about where these guys are headed in Yarmouth is that they're techie. So I would like to connect with them and see what they're doing, and just make sure that what we're doing here is gonna get our students ready to be there and use it similarly, to a degree that makes sense.
Because
And then I know one of the after-school things was the 3D printing, are we gonna be able to offer that to kids? I know that is like,
Oh, it's in the STEM one.
Meredith and Meredith.
Okay.
All I just hear about is that everyone loves that, so I know.
They should the makers.
Okay.
They're gonna be like,
Yeah.
begging to come back.
and you all know that we have a resource, the Perloff Foundation.
Oh, the people that did the.
Right, and you probably have that, but the Perloffs have, we have V-Bots. Pardon me?
I have mouse spots. You have V-Bots?
We have V-Bots. I think
Here,
we
you
have
have
three.
V-Bots?
I think we have 3 of them. We have a big mat. We have some extra mats,
Great.
cards. There's a whole notebook.
Great.
And the Perloffs, they often come and visit once a year.
Mhm.
They like to come and see what the students are doing. And there was one time I said something about V-Bots or something that
Mhm.
for a age level, and the next thing I knew, the next week, like V-Bots appeared.
Great.
So they love that connection and,
That's awesome. That's great.
we don't want to lose that connection.
Yeah.
So they're people.
Yes.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
You know how.
their last name was
Yeah.
Perloff.
Well, they live out in Santa Clara.
Yeah.
California. Go to church with my sister. I was gonna say something else. What was it?
It's David and Sandy.
Yeah.
Anyone have any other thoughts on staffing updates? And so you're going to send something out to the parents? Right, just about this, yeah,
Yes.
about this, okay,
Yes.
great. And I think if you fill in all the other, not just their part, but the other, like art teacher, you've got
Yeah.
3 applicants, you plan for special ed.
Yeah.
Just so that they have all the info.
Yes.
Would it make sense for us to hold a parent meeting, chat, just to answer questions?
I think that if you guys are up for that, I think that that would be great.
We were planning with a meet and greet as time got closer, but with the changes, that's before.
Yeah. I just know that you're gonna probably get a lot of, I think Heidi's gonna get more, but a lot of questions with the pre-K and the first graders.
Yeah, and honestly, I think I'd be more concerned if people weren't asking. Like that's kind of comforting, that
Yeah.
they're thinking that deeply about the children.
Mhm.
So I'm not worried about fielding those, and I
Okay.
know that I'll be able to gain trust over time.
Yep.
But definitely, when people come to you, make sure to tell them, yes, talk to her about that, what your worries are, the sibling stuff, all of those things. I do want to hear
Yeah.
how they're feeling about it.
And that we're very mindful of it. I know that, we're setting these parameters right now that she's grade 1 and I'm 2 to 5, but that seems to be what makes sense curriculum wise. But when we get to know the student, it might make sense for us to do a little bit of swapping, and we hope that we'll be able to have that flexibility and just because we want to do what's right by us.
Absolutely.
And in the past, we have done that.
We have done
with kids, we haven't always done it like exactly the same all year, or we slid somebody just for a chunk of the day or for one particular piece, just because it made sense to their learning.
Yeah.
So I think we're always open to that.
Like when the first graders do phonics to reading, if it's not working, they can come to it. Second graders. can do the second. So I think we should have it done. And for
I'm
part
hard
of
to do that with that.
Yeah.
Right, so.
And you also have that bond of the first and second graders.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, there's,
They've been in class. for-
right, they
That's
are.
why I want to
opening
give
the-
them time together, like in STEM lab.
Yeah, I think it's really good to keep that.
And that's one of the things where my heart is concerned, like, because I know those first graders have been with those.
Right,
Second graders,
yeah,
so I'm wondering how those kids are gonna feel about that, there are younger kids, so where we were looking for opportunities where they would be able to still connect, with both sides.
Well, my recommendation would be for maybe you guys to talk when a good time would be, and for you guys to send an email directly to the parents. And so that you could, say, come and ask questions and things like that. Maybe do it after, maybe not tomorrow, but have Ann send out what the plan is, and then maybe later in the week, sending out something.
Yeah.
We're here almost. We're not gonna be away.
Maybe offer it on